Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. This will be a brief one. I want us to look at the politics of election observers. Of course, one thing I have ever realized is if there is part of election financing by the international community or the friends of the country, then that is election observers. I don't remember when last election observers maybe came out and supported the fact that maybe the election is flawed. Unless even in 2007, remember it took them some 2 weeks for them, when the country went south, for them to acknowledge that indeed there was a problem. 2013, 2017, even at the height of the opposition groupings heading to Supreme Court, if there is one other part that has always let democracy down in Africa, then that is election observers. But that notwithstanding, there is a new development that 35 election observers from East Africa, the group that is led by Jakaya Kikwete, jetted in the country on 1st August, that is the Monday of this week, a week to the general election, because the election is going to be on 9th. They're supposed to be here until 12th. The group of election observers, they came early enough, which is the tradition, and when asked about the situation of politics in the day, the same day President Uhuru Kenyatta was campaigning for Raila Odinga in Kiambu before flying to Kisumu, Jakaya Kikwete was coming in full defense of President Uhuru Kenyatta campaigns amidst criticism from Dr. William Samoei Ruto. And I am not saying that election observers are wrong. What I've only faulted is the way they normally conduct the exercise, especially after election. Jakaya Kikwete is telling Deputy President William Ruto straight in the face that despite President Uhuru Kenyatta being a sitting president, he is a citizen of the country and he has a constitutional right, just like any other Kenyan, to campaign and support whoever he wants. And I can't agree more. One of the things that the politicians or President Uhuru Kenyatta's opponents have always, because they are president's opponents and they are Raila's opponents, I don't know whether they're the same people, but then the criticism that has been meted on President Uhuru Kenyatta is been so skewed and a bit economical with the truth, because the president is a resident of this country. The president is a Kenyan voter, despite the fact that he is occupying the highest office in the land. So this is a body that perhaps is expected to play some sense of neutrality. But then when it comes to this, they were so straight in the face that President Uhuru Kenyatta is right to campaign. This already is going to set them against the Kenya Kwanza team. And I can say that any other statement that maybe they can give after the election, whichever way the election is going to go, they may not give a skewed, they may not give a neutral position in the eyes of Kenya Kwanza. But this is one thing I want to say. Uhuru has played an integral role in the East African community. And Jakaya Kikwete, who is a former Tanzanian president, is one of the friends of the country. This is a decision that, of course, you can subject it to different interpretations, because I don't think it is just on defense of president, but indirectly, I see Jakaya Kikwete trying to do a pitch on time for Raila Odinga presidency. And ladies and gentlemen, I want us to look at this. What do you understand? Sometimes I agree with people who say that the leadership of the country, as long as there is sovereignty of the people, but that power of the people is actually is given through a responsibility, or rather we have a representative democracy where we must elect people to represent us. So in that such a democracy, Jakaya Kikwete is representing the group of observers. Of course, he's representing a voice. And which is the voice that Jakaya Kikwete is representing? Ladies and gentlemen, kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and like our video. I also want to remind us to continue supporting the 50 bomb challenge for our friend and sister Sarah Atieno, who is locked in Kenyatta Hospital. She's suffering acute leukemia. She has undergone through the medication, but the bill has inflated to 1 million. So we gave ourselves a challenge after she reached out that we can donate as little as 50 bob. If 20,000 members of this channel can heed to that call, then I believe that in the next 14 days, we'll be in a position to present a 1 million check for Sarah Atieno Onyango. My number is there. We are collecting it as Team Bolt 0710 62 78 89, and you can also reach out directly to Sarah. Because of that condition, it's not just a matter of the finances. Even the personal touch is very important. You can reach out to Sarah 07 16 357 360, and in some special way, God will also meet your expectations. The interpretations of Jakaya Kikwete's indirect endorsement to Raila Odinga, of course, this is a very bad news to William Ruto. But this is a team that is representing the East African community. I see one of the things that is bringing this is Raila's international clout. I want to believe that election observers that have been coming in this country since 2007, 2013, and 2017, they have all interacted with the name Raila Odinga at one point or the other. So imagine them coming 5 years in, 5 years out, and still finding Raila. This shows that Raila has already become a household name in Africa. And I want to say, this might be a bit skewed, but again, it depends on where you're standing. But I see Jakaya Kikwete trying to make a direct pitch for Raila Odinga. And why? Raila was a friend, in his personal capacity, is a friend to the late President Magufuli. Even before the president left, before President Uhuru Kenyatta, sometime 2 months ago, Raila made a tour to Uganda and met Yoweri Kaguta Museveni after also going to South Sudan. So I think the President Uhuru has tried to also make sure that Raila inherits the East African community. The coziness that the presidents have had with the East African community is something that Raila is enjoying. Now, if you top that with Raila's personal international clout, you can be in a position, you can see why such an endorsement can come from Jakaya Kikwete. And I want to agree with the critics who say that Deputy President international clout is a bit shrinked. And I don't know that it was intentionally or it was by making, or rather by design. However, you can see because of the friction that there have been between the president and his deputy, and of course the second term also was bedeviled by the COVID-19 that restricted movement. Deputy president was not given any official visit, and of course he could not be in a position to inherit the international networks of the country as a Kenya, of the Kenyan country. They are the friends of this country that are so close to ministers that they know the president, they know people around presidency, but they are not close to deputy president. So this has really worked in favor of Raila Odinga, and this is what you can do. And you see the president has powers of incumbency. Mostly you will actually realize that like Jakaya Kikwete is a member of the East African community. The president is an incumbent president of the country, but has also played a pivotal role. I think he's also the chairman of that East African community bloc. And he was leading the peace talks in Congo, and also the way to bring in Congo, DRC Congo, into the East African community fold. Of course, this is something that you can also attribute it to the incumbency influence by President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. I want to say that in this country, there are things that have ever happened, but because in the Kenyan context, they were subjected to political prejudice, the Kenyans never saw the value. The handshake was a concept that really shaked and changed the African politics for some time. And Raila and Uhuru are actually captured the international headlines, becoming one of the most critics, people who have faced on in an election, and within 1 year, they are working together. The international community, the people who had embraced the handshake, just like, and I want to believe Jakaya Kikwete can be part of that team, the people who embraced handshake are actually waiting to see whether that, if that handshake can produce Raila Odinga presidency. Perhaps after the BBA blow, there was a bit of a setback. But if Raila Odinga presidency is going to be delivered, after all that onslaught against the handshake, I think the promoters, or rather the people that had fancied the handshake in the global stage, are going to give Kenya the respect. And one thing that people are waiting for this, the handshake was supposed to bring peace. So after the president handshake, in the global stage, that was a big thing. That was a very big project. And if we go to the subsequent election and you don't experience violence, which was one of the issues that the handshake was supposed to cure, I see the trailer getting his points, his bonga points on this. And Jakaya Kikwete, I want to speculate, could be one of the global leaders that fancied the handshake between the president and Raila Odinga. Raila has a favorable foreign policy. If you do your assessment, if there is a place William Ruto is doing badly, is foreign policy. He's on record somewhere saying, I remember in one of the rallies, that how China, is it Hindi, will return them in their country. You know, I also heard Nani saying that. I also heard Jakaya saying something at Rhodesia, China. But I think, sorry to say, but Jakaya is a flower girl in this race. I'm using the wrong word, but for lack of a better word. But I see Jakaya as a lightweight. Of course, he's not the front runner. He's not amongst the front runners. So, William Ruto's foreign policy is very poor. Just to say the truth, that his foreign policy is very poor. Some of the pronouncements they've made and the approach to debt management, it is more of a local solution. He has offered more of a local solution compared to Raila, who has given it a broader perspective that of course points out to foreign policy. But then the debt management plan that the next president is going to come up with will be very effective, and it will go in tandem with your foreign policy. If you have unfavorable, of course it won't work. And something that I can say, of course we one day look at it, bottom-up economic model is actually touted to be targeting the people at the lower part of the pyramid. To an international investor, he sees as models that do not accommodate foreigners, because the access to financing is concentrated. The billions for the hustler nation and all that are concentrated for the mama mbogas and the rest. And of course, I've always been asking that one of the critics of that hustler bottom-up economic model is that it is a bit exclusive of the international commercial interests. And if there is something that, of course, it can help boost the economy of the country, even though it might not translate really to a fully recovered economy, at the center of any economic recovery, you can challenge me, but I think you must have a favorable foreign policy. Asset recovery, people who have stashed funds outside, you want to do recovery, you need a good foreign policy. You need good relations. So I see this as also really playing a central role as to why Jakaya Kikwete is indirectly endorsing Raila Odinga in delivering bad news to William Samoei Ruto. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my bold.